There's a new sort of pressure that comes with social media. In the last few years, we have been exposed to thousands of self-made teenage millionaires who tell us that it was a result of hard work. We work harder, try to stay productive, but it seems like we can never be productive enough. No matter what we do, nothing works, and our plans for success stay dormant. Most people know there's something wrong with this idea of success, but the exact problems are often not what we think they are. Viral rappers, social media stars, and famous teenagers have shaped our idea of what success looks like, and what it really means to have achieved this so-called success. The problem is, this impact does not stop with social media. The dangerous effects of the content we consume are prevalent in everything we do. Whether we like it or not, social media forces us to adopt subtle ways of thinking and acting that we wouldn't be able to recognize otherwise. These effects of virality are subtle, but if we can understand the root of the impact of social media, we'll be able to understand exactly where we went wrong.
The happiest people tend to be the people that are making a nice income, that really enjoy their life and their family life, and not the people of tremendous wealth that are constantly driven to achieve more and more success.
Social media and this new style of success forces us to constantly want more. People who otherwise would have a great life turn outwards, towards a new goal for their personal egos. Their humble and happy life is no longer enough. They may not want expensive chains and foreign cars like these celebrities, but instead, they want a higher position in their company or a job that sounds more appealing in their conversations. People who make great music stop and change their sound because they need to make money off of it. The humble painter realizes no one is seeing his work and he tries to turn a profit. Think of the story of the miserable but successful entrepreneur. This stereotypical business-minded man became so successful because he was so unhappy. In a way, he could ignore his misery by imagining that once he achieves some obscure or undefined level of success, he will finally be happy. But his problem wasn't the success he wanted to achieve. It was the problems and personal shortcomings that he was ignoring by obsessing over his fantasy of success. Most of us are unaware that we play out this same tragic story in our own lives. We look to our next purchase or the next idol that comes across our feed as a way to escape reality. Instead of facing our own problems, we are encouraged to enter a new reality. The next movie we watch, the next football game, or social media sensation.
On television to believe that one day we'd all be millionaires and movie gods and rock stars, but we won't. Advertising has us chasing cars and clothes, working jobs we hate so we can buy shit we don't need. We're the middle children of history, man. No purpose or place.
There are so many new opportunities to escape that makes it almost impossible to remain focused on what truly matters. Social media affects our businesses, jobs, relationships, and communities in a way that we've never seen before. These new problems require new solutions that somehow remain undiscovered. We flock to ineffective leaders for solutions, but they end up being exposed as dull, fake, and inauthentic. We need something much deeper, but is that what we really want? The problem is that, as people, we have come to think any extra success we achieve will directly make us happier. Rather than looking forward to a stable future with a family, success on social media means getting more attention, clout, and some sort of recognition for what you're doing. People, for some reason, want to have an audience watch their every move, instead of leading a simple yet effective life. And the thing is, when you ask the rappers and stars who have achieved this so-called success if they're any happier, the answer is no.
My message to the youth is to be strong no matter what you're going through. For anybody going through anything that they're going through, know that I go through the same shit. Money has not changed that. Like I said, I am still the same mother. That shit don't solve nothing.
Cause I got dead tattooed on my hand. I feel like I'm dead.
But you're not.
So if you need help, seek help. Whether if you don't want professional help, seek help and surround yourself with people that'll help you. It kind of drives you crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Today, it seems like there's an implied shame for simply existing. It is almost as if we're told that being alive is a disgrace. But as we've been told by countless generations, life is a gift. And if we can operate with this lens and appreciate our existence as a species, we will no longer look to money or success to overcome this shame. This shame doesn't even come from ourselves, which is why it is so dangerous. This shame causes us to look outwards for approval, but at the same time, oddly causes us to isolate. And this is the point of modern success. It's such an alluring fantasy because it causes so much isolation. People don't really think about it in this way, but it gives entrepreneurs an easy way out of sacrifice. They can leave their family and friends behind. You can be on the big stage alone. Their fans end up idolizing them, so they won't actually have more connections and friends. Most people will only see these viral entertainers for their success, and they'll be more alone than ever. But for some reason, this is exactly what a lot of people want today. In the same way of the miserable entrepreneur, people isolate because there's something they're ignoring. We don't want to face the reality that someone else will see clearly, so we shelter ourselves. This is exactly what's happening on a bigger level with shame. This shame comes from the difference between how we see ourselves and how other people in society see us. In the eyes of society, today, we are simply people who work and make money for a company. We produce money, but in our own eyes, we can see how far from the truth this is. Our purpose is much greater.
If you can get a mental image of the person you would most like to become, begin now to act as that person would act in everything you do. Gradually, imperceptibly, you will actually become that person.
Most often, our biggest problems aren't even caused by our own circumstances or other people. Instead, most of our problems simply stem from our own ego and its selfishness and arrogance. An easy way to understand this is that when we introduce ego into a situation, it often has the effect of distorting our rational minds. Rather than see reality for what it truly is, people follow a fantasy of what they could be, rather than accepting what they have access to. We end up having an unhealthy attachment to our own importance, which leads to an obsession with being seen as special. We get more money, more attention, and yearn for a famous life because it validates our egos. We can have confidence, but once our opinions of ourselves become clouded, we have lost the way. The solution to the problem of ego is humility and self-awareness. And oftentimes, following our purpose solves this issue. We'll have consistent feedback from others and know when we get out of line. If, as a society, we can understand how to break the rigidity of the ego, this massive scale issue will simply disappear. But what's often misunderstood is the role of understanding who we want to become. People can learn what's ultimately best for them and who we were made to be. The only problem is ego and the lies we're fed by our selfish fantasies. Following our true God-given purpose will push us towards the right path for our lives. People who follow their true calling will have great and fulfilling lives away from the effects of social media. They will no longer need the validation from these platforms because their purpose is now clearly defined and their identity is clear.